What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ferdi and in today's video I will be showing you how to peek correctly in Fortnite. This video will be split up into two sections, the basics and then the advanced part full of top tier tricks that I guarantee you won't know. So if you don't want to miss out on anything, make sure to watch till the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get right on into it.
Here we go!
When it comes to mastering peeking, the first thing we must understand is what actually is a peek. Most of you will probably say that a peek is simply just doing a peanut butter edit and shooting your opponent. And while this has some truth in it, it is far from correct. I like to say, peeking is the action of momentarily exposing yourself from behind cover to take a shot at the opponent with minimal risk of getting eliminated. Now, when should you actually peek and how do you peek the right way? In Fortnite, you should generally always peek once you have previous information about the enemy's whereabouts.
I am watching you.
Now, why do I emphasize peeking once you know where the enemy is? This is because if you simply just make a wide edit or a peek where you are in direct line of sight of the opponent, you are granting them a free first shot on you since you will have pull-out delay and will be unable to shoot first, often leading to you dying without even taking a shot. When it comes to peeking properly, there are many factors to watch out for, but the first thing is to understand what peeker's advantage and right hand peeks are. Peeker's advantage. In Fortnite, the person that peeks normally has the advantage as they already know what they have to do. So let's say if you're the one peeking, you basically already know you have to click your spacebar to jump and then just click your mouse button to shoot. Whilst if you aren't the one peeking, you simply have to react to the opponent's peek or anticipate the peek like in pre-fires. But doing this is much harder than if you just have to edit the wall, shoot and reset since you are prepared to do this movement. Obviously, this isn't always the case, as when box fighting in this scenario, the first person to peek is at a disadvantage. This can also be applied when you are about to get peeked on. Let's say your opponent just made a peanut butter edit and he's about to shoot you. If you just run into his box before he can jump at you and shoot you from behind his wall, you have the advantage on him as he's not ready for it. So you get the first shot off, which is very useful in order to end fights quickly if you have an HP advantage. The main reason for this is because Fortnite has a few hundred milliseconds long delay from where you are and where you show on your enemy's screen. Right hand peeks. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in the game, and this is because many players actually think that just because they are performing a right hand peek, they cannot get hit in return. This is absolutely incorrect, as there are several other factors to take into account when peeking. But essentially, a right hand peek is a peek performed from left side cover out towards the right and exposing yourself towards the enemy. Whenever doing a right hand peek, you always have the advantage because Fortnite is a third person shooter where the camera is situated towards the left of the play module. Something really important that you should understand is that even when doing the most optimal peek possible in Fortnite, you can still get pumped, you can still get cracked, you can still die. You are not suddenly invincible.
Then why does making a good peek matter?
Because pulling off a perfect peek actually minimizes the risk of you getting hit back, and often during the rare case that you do get hit back in this situation, it will be for very low chip damage. When making each and every peek, there are three more fundamentals that you must take into account, and those being movement, pull-out delay, and crosshair placement or crosshair level, which are virtually the same thing. Movement. I like to think of movement as a tool that can be used in order to swing in and out of peeks, allowing yourself to hit the opponent and not get shot back as you are swinging into cover once again. Essentially, you want to use your movement to minimize the time you are exposed from behind your cover. Here's a great example of a common situation where you edit these 4 tiles on the wall from a right hand peek and have to swing into the line of sight of the enemy, shoot and then quickly move back into cover. It's important to know that there are certain builds that can help you minimize the time taken for you to swing from behind cover and back, like placing a floor above you when making a right hand peek or cones to provide extra cover like in this situation right here. Finally, something really important that every player should avoid at all costs is moving backwards when performing a peanut butter edit. Be it by holding down your joystick or clicking S on your keyboard, you don't want to do this as it will make it 10 times easier for your opponent to hit you. Instead, you always want to be using your A and D keys and use your W simultaneously when doing peanut butter peeks. Here is a good example of a player using bad movement when going for a peanut butter edit. Compared to this one where Diego plays confirms the edit from behind the wall. Pull-out delay. In order to fully understand this concept, first you must know that every time you switch weapons and builds, once you switch back to your shotgun, there is a couple milliseconds delay from when the animation from pulling out your pump starts and when it finishes and allows you to shoot. The time varies a lot depending on the type of shotgun you have. The delay that really matters right here is the fire rate. This is very important because it still affects you, even if you shoot, reset the wall, edit again and try and shoot. That's why if you are not aware of this, sometimes you will say your shotgun didn't shoot and that you can't do anything about it. But this is not true, as if you would have made the edit and then waited a tiny bit longer, then you went for a peek, you would have shot your shotgun perfectly fine. This is why when going for a peek, you always want to edit the tiles that your opponent is not behind so that he cannot shoot you instantly and you can pull out your shotgun in time to shoot. If you are having trouble with this concept because you always seem to get hit when you edit, make sure you are not using the edges of the squares for cover on every edit that you do. Instead, use this faint outline of the edit that you are about to do. So if you're using a pump next time you're playing, make sure to wait behind your peak before trying to go for a shot if you just recently shot your gun. Crosshair placement. This principle is extremely simple. Basically, you want to make the edit by selecting the tiles in a way that once you get the last tile and confirm the edit, your crosshair is already where it needs to be, so you just have to use your movement to hit the enemy. Here is where having edit on release off is useful, as it allows you to do the edit and before confirming you can line up your crosshair with your target. Whilst with edit on release on, you have to flick after making the edit. I'm not saying you can't do slight mouse adjustments when going for a shot. You certainly can, but the less adjustments to your crosshair that you do, the better, as it will make your shots way more accurate. At the very least, when confirming the edit, line up your crosshair to where you only need to adjust it vertically or horizontally, but not both, as this makes it harder to line up your shot, like this. Most common peaks in Fortnite. The first peak I want to cover is the Martos peak, which is simply just a jump shot peak. As you can see here, you just place a floor underneath the back tile, place a ramp and jump plus shoot. This isn't really an optimal peak, as you can get shot if your opponent times their shot. However, it's a very good peak as it is very unexpected. As you can see here, it worked for Myros Cow against Pink, one of the best players in the region. Another example of a jump shot peak is this one right here, which is used once again from below the box and you just have to jump and shoot. Notice how Diego plays doesn't jump but instead jumps in a sort of arc, so that it makes it a bit harder for the opponent to hit him. The next peak is just a right hand peak but using another wall as cover, so you just swing in and out of sight, like Cole does right here. The window peak. Here is an example of Flixie doing a window peek. As you can see, he makes the edit from behind cover and just swings into the peak to shoot and then quickly resets the wall while moving out of sight so that he can't get shot back if the reset isn't fast enough. Finally is the crouch shot, which is more commonly performed with a cone. However, I couldn't really find any clips of it, so this one by region is also a great example of a crouch shot. It is very important that when you are crouched, you use your jump bind so that you move up faster and then you shoot crouch once again to minimize exposure. How to counter optimal peaks. If you are ever in a situation where the opponent has just grabbed your wall, for example, and is going to go for a peek, here you just want to go to the back of your box and crouch like this, and as soon as they make the edit, you spray it with your AR and replace it with your own. If you don't want to do this, you can just edit out your box as long as you don't get full boxed. Now that you understand peaks, you must understand that you don't need to make a good peak every single time. There are many situations where doing a good peak is not necessary, and those are the following: when your opponent is unaware of you and when you have a major health advantage over them. Going back to the topic of pull-out delay, you can also use this to your advantage, as if you notice that your opponent has just shot his shotgun, you can open up a wide edit and shoot him since he won't be able to shoot you back. This really only works with the hammer pump at the moment, as with the combat and gatekeeper shotguns you can shoot multiple shots with minimal delay between them. That's why quite often you'll see pro players just jumping in or opening a wide edit to end fights fast. These are the situations where you should not do a perfect pick. However, if you don't do optimal picks in other situations, it is still perfectly fine, but it's called a 50-50 as you're just relying on your raw aim to bail you out, which many pros do. But they also play 10 hours a day, unlike you.
You're not that guy, pal, trust me, you're not that guy.
So they aren't going to miss their shots. I'm not saying you are gonna miss your shots, but they are more likely to hit most of the shots compared to you. Just think about the risk versus reward of each fight. Also, if you are, let's say, 20 HP and your opponent is 100, you shouldn't try and peek them. Your priority in this situation is to make space and try and heal, as going for a counter shot is too risky in this situation. Bonus tip. A bonus tip that I like to add to the video is when you push a box, if you don't want to have to constantly check your peaks, just push each box anti-clockwise like in this drawing. By doing this, you are setting yourself up on a right hand peak every single time. This is why you might have heard of the term diagonal box fighting and why it's so useful. As you can see on screen, if the enemy does the most overrated edit in Fortnite, aka the peanut butter edit, I get a free shot on them, and even if they are backed up to the edge of their box, I can always see them while they can't see me.
I can smell you.
If you apply the principles that I have taught you in this video, I can guarantee that you'll see an insane amount of success in the fights you take from now on. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and let me know if you enjoyed this type of video, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon with some more videos coming soon. And if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel, it's free. And since you already made it to the end, it means you like the video, so why not just show some support. But with that said, I think it's time to wrap up this video. Thank you all for watching, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Peace out.